Okay. I actually shot a video about updates and stuff. I actually shot up a couple videos about it, but this is very poignant now. I just finished up 3 in a row. Actually, it was 8 out of 11. I finally did the math. I was like, wait a minute, what the heck? Why am I dragging so much? I just did 8 days out of 11. It was just like, don't really care about the money. It's just I'm exhausted. But they were actually good shifts, thank God. If they were horrible shifts, I probably would have had a call out. We had actually a really good night. I had a full slate of patients. It was just my patients were so bad. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, the updates that I was giving today, it was unusual in the sense of it was rare. The nurse that I gave updates to, I had given full report to 2 days prior, and she gave me updates when I came back in the next day, and she skipped a day. Normally you lose your group. Normally, even if you got the same group's assignment, the patients change. They're just whatever. When I saw her this morning, I said, hey, how you doing? She's like, oh, you're here. You're still here? And I was, yeah. Same patients. She looked at me. Her jaw literally dropped. She's like, the same ones? I was like, yeah. You still have your SBARs? And she's like, yeah. I was like, just copy and paste, because there's hardly any changes. There was just one, her mission turned out to be my patient for 3 days. But she had just glanced at him like 10 minutes worth when she handed him off to me. So I was like, that's the only one you really need to get a report on. The rest of them updates, this is what happened. But we were done not even 30 minutes. The previous video that I referred to at the beginning of this video, it took me over an hour and a half to do the full report. The nurse... That was the in-between nurse, the nurse I had yesterday. So same exact patients, no changes, nothing significant, but full report versus updates. That is the differential. Also, the fact that this nurse and I actually get along a lot better, and we're a lot more on the same wavelength. This is actually a nurse I referenced in a previous early video that I had trouble with. She actually gave me some grief. She and I have settled down to a really good working relationship back and forth. I think she's come down. She's deigned to come down to my level. Not so much that I have upgraded my game. She's downgraded her game to like, oh, okay, Ray's way is easier. Not to say my way is better, but she's like, oh, this is a lot easier. So she took report a little early, like 5 minutes. A couple minutes earlier than she would have in past, because she realizes, hey, gets me out of here. She gets started with her day, and vice versa. I took report from her early, got her out of there. She appreciates that. It's beginning to go around the unit. So anyway, she and I actually get along very well. So we have a very good handoff relationship. I have now with like a half a dozen of my coworkers, we give report really well. One of them was my preceptor, one of my ex-preceptor, and I think I mentioned another old man of the unit, and a couple of these younglings. It's easier this way. It's not so hard ass. But don't get me wrong, the nurse that was in between the updates and the full report that I gave to this one, the one that took an hour and a half, I learned a lot from her, even in that hour and a half. She was a former educator of ours. She just went back to bedside. She's like, I don't like being an educator. And she taught me a few things during that hour and a half of giving her updates. So it's not lost time. There are some nurses where it's like just lost time. It's just like, oh my God, give me my hour and a half back of my life. We're still not done. We're only halfway through. I've seen updates go 2+ hours. And it's ridiculous, because they're like, I gotta be back here in 10 hours. I still have to go. And you see the nurse like almost in tears, because they're like, I gotta go home. I gotta feed my kids. I've gotta take a shower. I've gotta eat. I gotta sleep. and then get dressed and come back and repeat this, and maybe not in that order. So it's just insane, because they have to now do that, the commute and the return, the commute home and all that within that 10-hour span, if they're lucky to have that 10-hour span. And that's just clocking in right at 7. So that's why I really, really believe Handoff SBARs, it's something you definitely should work on. It was a weak point of my game. It was a very weak point of my game. So much so I had to develop my own SBAR to guide me and keep me on track. And I've had a number of people like, ooh, they look at my SBAR and they're like, oh, where'd you get that? And I've given it to them. I've given it out freely, and they've done very well. I've tried a lot, Ray. This keeps me on track. That's why I developed it that way, because I'm an idiot and I need to have guidance. I need to have a seeing eye dog, because I'm fucking blind. All right, I'm a moron and I cannot do it without it. I've tried kind of, and I just said, forget. I need to have my SBAR, and because what I think a couple of times I've ran out of copies and I color coded. Yes, you're a nurse. You're basically OCD. I'm not really OCD, but on certain things I am. I am. And I said, to hell with it. I Xeroxed it and made it black and white and suffered through the shift, but I needed it. I could not operate without my SBAR. It's sad. I'm only as good as my SBAR. So it is something I strongly suggest to you guys out there. Work on your SBAR. More so on the nurse to nurse SBAR. The nurse to doctor SBAR, yeah, it depends on the doctor. Some doctors are like, blah, 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 or they don't even want to hear SBAR. They want you to secure chat them or text them, and that's how they want to get it, because that's where they are. They get their hospital issued phones, and that's how they want to do it. They do not want to talk. They do not want to. You don't know. They could be on the yacht sipping champagne. They don't want to talk to your ass. They just want to say, what's the vitals? What's going on? What's going? What, blah, 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 and say it in a Twitter message. Say it in a tweet. That's what they would love. It's not secure. Sorry, don't do that. But I'm saying in the equivalent of that. All right. It's more the nurse SBAR, the nurse handoff, that you really need to work on. That I'm surprised I don't see a lot of nursing schools do that. They go over it a little bit, but they're more concerned about the doctors, not looking bad in front of the doctors. Don't look bad to your fellow nurses. Get that done, because you'll be respected more. You do that every shift. Absolutely. You do it twice. In and out. Doctors, you might go a year without, if you don't have any problems, you don't have to go to a provider. Or you can ask your preceptor to sit in with you, and then you can learn that. But the nurse handoff, you do that every day. You do that with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 patients every day. That is much more important. And I'm just shocked that it's not emphasized as much. It's noted. It's like, but you notice a lot of the SBAR discussions are about the providers, the doctors. Good luck.